the way that Saturday's game unfolded, I didn't really realize this till long after the fact. They were 4-14 on third down.
Yeah.
You guys did a good job.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to get back into those numbers. I think that's kind of what we shoot for. It's right around 28, 29%.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be there in our league just because, look at our offense. That's a really good example of their success. Is I think they're number 2 in the country, like at 57%. So anytime that you can do that and continue drives, it's going to help you. And anytime you can get off the field defensively is going to help. So that was a big part of it. Third down stops and then the turnovers were huge.
Did that, the third down stops and turnovers, did that soften your feel for maybe how much y'all didn't get to Kendall? I know you wanted to get to him.
Yeah, but, some of the stuff goes into covering guys too. Sometimes in the game where you play a coverage and you saw some checkdowns and some, things that the normal person would be like, you didn't get to them, but we, kind of made him do what the coverage kind of said to do, and we went up and tackled him. So sometimes that happens. But I'm not hiding from the fact that we got to get better at getting after the quarterback, especially in those situations. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been addressed because we do have some really dynamic guys, and, we expect more out of them.
How much does it hurt to not have, a guy like BJ, out there for several games?
Yeah, it does. I mean, because, some of the things that happen with that is you have to cross-train some different people at different positions. So an example would be, he's your 5th best guy, and maybe you get an injury, and now he has to play the nickel spot, or now he has to be the backup field side safety. So when you start losing guys and you still want to try to play your best players, then you have to cross-train a whole bunch of guys. So having BJ back and being able to, kind of solidify that position, now you can keep a guy maybe like Montrell Estelle and say, okay, listen, you just worry about field side safety, or, you don't have to worry about cross because we're too deep at that spot. So, yeah, it's really good to have him back. He looks really, really fresh. I mean, and, he's running around and he's doing the things we're asking him to do. So it's really good to see him back.
I'll ask the obvious question about Jalen. I mean, just the matchup problems that he presents, especially, towards your defense this year.
Yeah, well, it's, he's at a point of his career where he's seen everything. He's gone against some of the best guys in the country. So anytime you have those deals, like Sam's the same way, you have this non-fear. You just go out there and you play, and if something bad happens, you can just wash it out and say, okay, they got me in that one. I can move on to the next play. So you can see that confidence in him when he's out in the field. And then the extension of plays. I mean, he is not afraid to tuck the ball and run with the ball. They have design runs for him that he can do, and then he can make all the throws. So anytime you get somebody that can make all the throws and can extend plays, they become, hard matchups. And then, he has the threats, and when you have CD and Rambo, and then even just Sermon, and when you have guys around you that you feel like, hey, listen, I can hand the ball off or throw the ball down the field, and these guys can hit home runs, it really helps too.
Since Deshaun had a year on offense, did he have a lot of catching up to do when he went back to defense, or?
I got asked that question beforehand about his transition. I tell you, when day one happened, just because of his feet and just because of his background at receiver. Even when we put him in one-on-ones, it just felt like golly, man, he's doing this on day one when we turned him over there, and I was like, this is really, really impressive. And then, like I told you guys before, I think I said it last week or 2 weeks ago, we went into camp, and it was just a little bit of a confidence deal where, you go against our guys, and they beat you up a little bit, and then all of a sudden you start to over-process things. But, it was great to see him go out there, and those weren't like guy tipped overthrow or just routine bad route. I mean, they were legit picks. So that helps us big time because that gives him a ton of confidence, but it also gives that room a ton of confidence to see just one of those guys go in there and finish some plays. So everybody's picked it up, and now they have really a standard of saying like, hey, listen, I want to be like him. I mean, he was our defensive player of the game. He really turned the game around for us. We got into a little bit of roll in the beginning of the fourth quarter, so it was really good to see.
Have you noticed him and Montrell, since he had that pick the week before, have they been walking around with a little bit more confidence
Oh, yeah.
and swagger?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, it's like anything else. This is not only the program itself, but for these kids, I mean, they put a ton of pressure on them. They got every eye in the world looking at them. And, when you miss a couple plays or come close to a couple plays, you're just waiting. And I've said this in the beginning, like we're inches away from finishing these plays. So as a coach, you say, this is not an athletic ability deal. This is just pull the pin and just be confident in terms of the way you've been coached. And they did that, and now all of a sudden it kind of justifies everything that's being taught in that room to get rewarded. You know, I got rewarded with 2 picks, so. Good. Sorry. No, it's all good.
What about
I was going to turn it off.
Yeah, where does Anthony Cook fit in that group in terms of gaining some confidence?
It's just the same thing. Cook, you know, is just learning everything about the position. You know, he's every day is a little bit of a roller coaster. So when you teach him things and he retains them and does a great job, he's very long, he's athletic. And then there'll be some things that we just got to teach him. Hey, this guy's split is here, it's third and whatever. This is the way you play him. So he's, to me, he's on his way from a practice standpoint. Now he's got to put it together in the game.
On one of his run stuffs, it was him, and I don't know if you heard this from the far side of the field, but the TV mic picked up him and Joe Osai kind of barking at each other.
Is that right?
Yeah, being a confident celebration thing. Is that stuff that you're encouraged to see? Is that you see him make her run stuff? And then,
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, but
make
it's
a
just
little
the same. It's the same thing. I think all those kids are aware of, you know, that position and how difficult it is to play it. And, you know, and I think any type of encouragement just makes those guys, because it's a lonesome way out there now. You know, you're out there, hey, listen, I want you to stop every pass play. And then, by the way, if they do run the ball, I want you to come up there and stuff the run too. So our kids know. I mean, that's the one thing about us defensively, is they know how difficult that position is. And our guys are good. I mean, this is a I really like this group. I do. We're a little bit inexperienced, I get that. But they learn every day, and they play for each other, and that's the one thing that's so hard. You don't coach that. You don't coach guys to band together, and you don't coach guys to be physical and give effort. You've got to coach all this technical stuff that they're learning because of, you know, being a little bit younger.
Coach, when you watch like OU, when their guys it doesn't seem like they just get open. They seem like they get wide open.
Yeah.
By like 10, 15
Yeah.
yards or more. How do they do that? How do they execute that?
Well, they run up the field on people, and, you know, they'll cut in and out and just open DBs up and just twist them like pretzels. I mean, and, you know, they do a good job of protection. A lot of times it's the maximum protection that you can get to just allow those guys. They've got great speed. You know, when you're talking about Rambo and you're talking about CD, they can absolutely fly. But they're really good route runners. They can set guys up. So if you're playing a guy inside leverage, they can really take you hard outside and get you to open up your hips and then beat you right back inside. You know, so that's why you're seeing a lot of those things that are wide open, is what they're doing on the top of their routes, you know, when they're stemming people in and out.
Todd, Joe said something after the game. I guess one of your messages to him has been in 50-50 situations. He said something like, you tell him, I've never fired a guy for playing run first.
Yeah.
When you hear, you know, your guys, I mean, to a man, they're all saying stop the run, stop the run. When they're saying that and they're believing in kind of that stop the run first mentality as a coordinator, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, to me, it's you know, those in between. So we're getting a decent amount of play action pass on us. So, you know, sometimes there's a little bit of indecision, in the college game especially. You know, they're letting these linemen get, you know, a decent amount of yardage down the field. So, you know, as a linebacker, it can be a little bit difficult at times to figure out what's going on. So from Joe's standpoint, I think that we've always been around here about trying to make people one-dimensional. Now, obviously, that's not the expense of giving up like 8 or 9, you know, touchdown passes. I mean, that's not what we're looking for either. But I think that the front seven this year has taken a lot of pride in terms of, you know, doing that, because we've done some different things coverage-wise where, you know, we've played, you know, 6 guys versus their 6 guys, or 7 guys versus their 7 guys, and have done a decent job with the run game. So I think they take a lot of pride in that, but I still think that we got to do a better job, especially at the linebacker position, of especially on play action passes, and making sure that we get our depth so there's not big gaps in our zone coverages that, you know, DBs or, you know, hey, that DB didn't cover him. I say that linebacker didn't get deep enough in his drop, so I think it's a little bit 50-50.
Coach, what have you seen out of Jawan Mitchell? Because he started last game.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's a really good ball player. He's got really good vision and instincts, you know, and he's gotten himself into better shape. I thought when he first got here, he was a little bit too heavy, so he's lost like 8 or 9 pounds, which he's running a lot better. And he's just instinctive, you know. That's the one thing that he does. And then when he makes a decision, he just puts his foot in the ground and goes. There's never any hesitation with him. So you're going to see much more of him moving forward. I think it's kind of the way I felt about a lot of guys that come into the program, especially in the summertime. It's kind of, you got to earn your right to get on the field. I know, you might be the best one that's out there right now, but you still got to work at it and you got to do all the things. And when you do that, you'll be out there. But until then, you got to prove to us that you're going to do it. So he's right along that path where we made the decision, outside of Rice, and we said, okay, listen, let's put this guy in there, see him as a starter, and see what he can do.
And then to that point, like, is it often that you have transfer players on your side of the ball where you have like them be in the mix for starters? Like
No, I mean, to me, it's pretty unique. It's you usually don't see that. It usually takes guys, at least 3 or 4 months to get stuff down. But I'm telling you, this guy is really, really sharp. I mean, he's a one-time in a room, like, we're going to do this, and a lot of the kids will be able to say it, but he can go out in the field and say, yeah, I remember you saying that. So he's a really unique kid, and it goes back to, like, I talked to him beforehand when he was really young. I mean, he's played football his whole life, and some people have got to him really early in his career and taught him about the game. So we're kind of receiving the benefits of that.
These rivalry games help shape fan perception about the
Yeah.
head coach. Now that Tom's done this for a few years, I mean, is he any different this week?
I don't, we've been around each other for so long that, big ball games have kind of been big ball games. So if he is, that's probably inside of him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like business as usual. I haven't seen any type of difference. I know, that's the one thing about this game, especially when you've worked here in the past. That's probably the biggest thing from my standpoint is, sit in a room with Oscar Giles and every second of every day he's explaining about the tradition of this game, and he's talking about, the people in the past, and you feel like, man, you've got a huge responsibility to make sure that you're coaching your best, you're playing your best, you're organized the best. So, but to answer your question, I haven't.
So I'm just curious, I mean, how much time did y'all talk? Well, I mean, I know y'all have been together for a long time, but y'all are very cognizant of every game is literally the same thing.
We try to keep it
And
that
keep
way.
it that way. I mean,
But I think.
How hard is that? When human nature creeps in.
No, but it's just the way this place works. I mean, to me, it's every day is like 4th and inches, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like you come into the building and it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to do it at a high level. It could be recruiting 2022 kids, where you're like, it's 2022, but it's like, let's go. It's 4th and inches. And you have to do it when you get to a program like this, it's the people and the university and the organization and the fans, they deserve that effort. So try our best to keep it that way and try to keep this place on top where it belongs.
Coach, Coach, yesterday, Osai, he said that the defense.
Joe's talking a lot.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to talk with him.
He said that the defense is too physical for the Big 12. How do you
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? These guys, we just had a talk with them to just relax a little bit. So, Joe, trust me, from knowing Joe for a very long time, is Joe can get very emotional, and Joe can probably say, but to me, at the end of the day, it's just playing really, really hard, under control. That's the biggest thing that we talked about. I mean, I get it. But, getting 15-yarders and doing that stuff hurts the team. So, but I think those guys take pride in some of the stuff that they're doing at a decent level. And we just got to get better all around in terms of, what we're doing football-wise.
What does that front seven for Oklahoma look like this year, Coach?
I think the whole defense, besides the front seven, they're very improved. They're fast, much faster, playing harder. I think that the coaches, their coach has done a good job of implementing a system. Here's what we're doing. Here's our strengths. Here's our weaknesses of the defense, of our system. The players understand that and know it. I think that, which allows them to probably play a little faster than last year.
I saw some stories out of the Oklahoman that they said their secondary just got a lot better over time and a good off season. Do you see that on film? Or
Yeah.
These are the same guys that y'all played last year.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of that. I mean, when you play in the conference and you're playing guys all the time, you're going to keep playing them. But they have. I mean, I think all of them through time have gotten better, just like our players have. And so even though they have a new coach and a new system, they've simplified it enough for those guys to allow them to run around and make plays.
Because I wonder, are you like licking your chops when you see some of these same DBs?
No,
That
not
go
necessarily.
up
You know, I've have tremendous confidence in our ability, right? I think our wide receiving core is as good as any receiving core in the country. I'm really pleased with their work and their effort, running, catching, whatever it is we ask those, blocking, whatever we ask those guys to do. I like Sam and his chemistry that he has with those guys. So pretty much like we talk all the time when we come in here, and it's not just words. I really worry about us. Like it
Right.
doesn't really matter who we're playing. We got to get off press. We got to get open. We got to catch the ball. We got to make the throw. We got to play on time. Like if we're doing those things, we got a chance to win.
What are your thoughts about your guys' depth in the backfield now that Danny and Kirk are healthy and Roshan's kind of growing up really quickly?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you saw it last game. I mean, you know, Kirk got in there, had a couple carries for us, and certainly Danny, a veteran player, has played a lot of football for us. So it helps to know that you have those guys and can run them in there and spell them if you need to. But, you know, been really pleased. You know, Keontae and obviously Rowe continues to play really, really well. He had a really nice game last game.
Would you typically just like to go with 2 running backs?
You know, it doesn't. Whoever's on, you kind of get a feel. What kind of game is it? Who's seeing things? Sometimes that happens at that position. It just does. And so, you know, Stan does a good job. We try to keep the veterans, the guys that have been through it the whole season for the most part, and allow those guys to get a good feel. But certainly if there's time or need to put someone else in there, that we'll do that.
How has Wiley been able to, you know enrolling early helps, but how's he been able to find his way onto the field so quickly and get a lot of non-garbage time snaps in this past game?
Yeah, you know, he again, being here early, he's really developed. I mean, he's different than what we got. He's a big target, you know, bigger guy, runs really well, has good knack for the game. You know, being a quarterback in high school, kind of a big picture guy, right? So it was easy for him to learn everything. And whether it's blocking in the run game or it's in the pass game and routes and conversions and all those types of things, that's kind of, and you know, just like we talked, as the season goes, they continue to develop and get better. They earn more playing time.
Y'all put 2 tight ends out a couple times in the past
Correct.
game. Is a lot of it because of how well he's come along in recent
Yeah,
months?
that's part of it. You start getting more comfortable in there, realizing that, you know, that we can do that. And if there is an injury or a guy needs to go down, we still have some depth there.
Along those lines of Jared getting into the game, what did you think of Marcus, and what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think Marcus is going to be a really good player for us. He's got really good ball skills, runs well, and he's another one of the young players that just, it's baby steps, right? I mean, he's just learning and learning and learning, and everything that he does every time is new to him. Like, he's going to get on a bus, go to Dallas, Texas for playing a Cotton Bowl. That's new. He's never done that before. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like all of this is just such a new experience for him. But he's been handling it really well. He continues to get better. And again, he's one of those guys, the better he keeps continuing to get and play, the more playing time he'll get.
What was your reaction to the cosmic touchdown? Were you just hoping he'd get to the end zone, or were you glad he just caught it?
No, Sammy's a really good athlete. I had no doubts that he would catch the ball, and actually I was pretty excited to see how he would do because I know he can run. So, you know, and I tell you, Parker and Shaq did a great job in front of him. You know, so it was great to see that. It really was. It was a lot of fun to be able to reward those guys. I was telling somebody, it's like when Sam scores as an O-lineman, you know, that O-lineman, they're like brothers, right? They all live together. They do everything together all the time, right? So when one of them scores, it's like they all score. And they all take such incredible pride in that. And I think Sammy's done really good because I think he realizes that and he appreciates that. It wasn't him that scored; it was the O-line that scored. And I think he's really pretty proud of that for his unit.
We saw today the video of Devin getting the captain's designation.
Yeah.
What about him makes him captain material?
Oh, just, you know, again, we've talked about him probably every week I'm in here. His development off the field and on the field as a leader, vocal, just how much he's grown in 3 years since I've been here, it's unbelievable. And you just see that, early guys rebel, or maybe guys, yeah, coach, I gotcha, I know, because they had success in high school or whatever. But to just, hey, coach me, here's, what do I need to do? And those guys do that, and they follow through the plan, and look what's happening, right? He's having an incredible season, almost storybook, right? To be leading the country in receptions and now captain. I'm really proud of him and love him. I mean, I think his development and what he stands for our program and for a lot of young men out there it's really special.
How close is the running game to being able to produce those big explosive plays that haven't really come yet since you've been here?
We're getting there. I think we are. I've been really proud of our group the last 2 games, rushing for over 200 yards, 2 straight games. So that's been a big key for us, I think. We got to continue to grind it out. We got to be patient and, keep wearing them down and to get that big run. And, as those guys continue, as you mentioned, get healthier and fresher, and I think those things will come.
Tim, you've had a lot of guys in that receiver group improve in the games Collins been out. How excited are you to see what that group looks like with him back in there?
Yeah, I'm excited just to see 9 back on the field. That's going to be good. I know Sam feels the same, I think, too. Not anything against what Malcolm's done and Marcus have done at that position. It's just, he's a senior. He's been through a lot of these big ball games and been able to produce. And he's been in these battles. There's something about having that presence and that experience of a guy that had been here, not getting rattled. It's like I was telling the radio people, right? I mean, they're all going to have butterflies, right? But I'm sure Marcus Washington's butterflies are going to look like eagles, inside of him compared to like Colin, right? Because he's done this before where some guys haven't. So to have that out there, and Sam knows that that's out there, that calms everybody a little bit.
Is there an area of the game with Colin where you feel like, whether it's third down, red zone, whatever, where you feel like he really gives you guys a lift coming back?
Just every down. I mean, before the injury, we started to see it a little bit by how teams defended us. They got to be very conscious of him and pick and choose spots where to give him one-on-one isolations. And so if they're doubling him with a boundary safety, then you got Devin and Brennan out over to the field that there's not as much coverage and help over there. So, and if they want to give those guys help, then the box is going to lighten up. But it all starts because they're going to help Colin. If they don't got to help Colin, they can rotate and bring guys to the box, rotate to the field with coverage, and say, hey, have at it. So, and again, you saw that's why Malcolm did some really good things. He got some of that one-on-one coverage, right? Marcus got some of that one-on-one coverage, and we took advantage of it.
You've coached in Dallas at the high school level. How important is this game to the football community in the DFW area?
Yeah, I think the whole state. I think it's bigger than Dallas. I think it's the whole state of Texas. Anywhere you go, and I mean, I went for a jog and I'm hearing people yell, "Take no mercy." I'm like, what, on my jog or? So, I mean, I knew what they meant, but it's like, I mean, that's the mentality of it.
You get for a game like this, I mean, I know you guys go 1-0, but it is Texas OU. So
Yeah.
Do you embrace it? Do you let guys get amped up and riled up for it, or do you try to rein them in?
There'll be a time for that. Right now, it's not. You know what I mean? And you just can't change. You just got to do what you do. I mean, that's the bottom line. You got to practice the same way. You got to coach the same way. A lot of confidence, and go out there and let our guys simplify it so they can go out there and play fast. You don't want them thinking, and you just want to let their talent take over, their instincts take over. They've been playing this game for a long time, and they know how to do it. We just got to let them go do it and make sure they know what to do so they can play really fast and do it, and they'll be amped enough.
Tim, with the offensive line, how much did the West Virginia game help going into this game, just from the standpoint of, as much movement as they had, as much as they stunted and stemmed, and Oklahoma's going to do the same things, and you guys had to adjust and make some adjustments to have that success?
I thought that West Virginia was a great game for us as a team overall, and especially as an offense. On the road, it was loud, it was homecoming, hostile environment. We got down early, we battled back. I just think that whole mentality of us against the world and being in that environment. They were fired up. A 3-1 football team for homecoming. You know, here comes Texas into town, and had to travel and different game time. First time we didn't play at night. There was a lot of firsts, and for our guys to be able to just not get rattled and just, you know, keep swinging the axe and just keep battling, we did, and eventually were able to rush the ball like we did and put the game away late in the, at the, you know, end of the game.
Last one?
Coach, how excited were you, or what was it like for you to see Kirk Johnson get back on the field? You know, for the first time?
I mean, I know somebody said, I can't remember who it was, somebody said something like it was his first carry in like 3 years or something. So I know it was pretty exciting for Kurt, which is, he's such a great young man. I know all of our guys love him. In order for him to see him actually play and carry the football had to be, for him first, it was great, and really for all of us as coaches, because what he means to us and our program, I think it was awesome.
Were you excited, like, to make the play call? Did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, he almost broke it, and you know, so I was kind of excited, thinking, because he's, you know, we kind of tease him, he's been hurt a little bit, but he's got fresh legs, so we're like, hey, he's got fresh legs, he may break one of these, so we kind of were hoping maybe he'd get out on it.